Today I'm going to show you some ways to improve your photography when you're out at the park with very limited gear. It's all going to happen on today's episode of
Ask David Bergman.
Hey there everybody, welcome back. Here I am, as always, answering your photography questions. Remember, go to askdavidbergman.com. If you've got photo questions, make sure you submit that form there, and I just might pick your question to answer on a future show. Also, hopefully you're already a subscriber to the Adorama TV YouTube channel. If not, why the heck not? Go ahead and click that button down below. Use the little bell icon. You'll be notified as soon as new photo shows come out for myself and all the other photo hosts right here on Adorama TV all week long. All right, we're out here in Central Park in New York City. I'm with the lovely Erica. I'm sure you all know Erica. She's on just about every Adorama video, but I'm so happy to have her back out here. We're both vaccinated, so we're out in the park making pictures again. How I've missed doing that. So thanks for coming out, Erica. I appreciate it. Today's question, I've got a really good one. It's from Clay D, and Clay wants to know, I often go for walks in the park with my wife. I like to take a camera and a Speedlite, but the light is not great. Is there a way to reduce harshness of direct flash outdoors? It's just pleasure walks, and I've been trying to keep my kit relatively small and manageable. Clay, that's a great question, not an uncommon scenario. Eric and I were just out here in the park walking around, and I want to make some pictures of her. How do you do that with, good quality without carrying a whole lot of gear? Well, I'm going to use the same equipment that you mentioned. I'm just going to start out with a camera and a Speedlite. This is my Canon 5D Mark IV and the 35mm 1.4 prime lens. I picked this setup because it's relatively lightweight. I know it's maybe not super lightweight, but I normally shoot with a 1D series and big zoom lenses, and so I wanted to keep it lighter than that, so that's what I went with. If you have something like an M50 Mark II or something like that, it's going to be really small and easy to pocket and carry around. The flash I'm using, this is the 600EX RT from Canon. They do make smaller, lighter weight flashes as well. The 400 series is very good. That'll give you some less weight if you want to go that way. All right, so now what do we do? The first thing that I do when I want to take a picture in a random environment outdoors is you have to examine the light and really figure out what's happening. Now, we've been out here for a few hours now, and the sun has been coming and going, and so sometimes it's hitting in the background and sometimes it's not. But what I did was I purposely chose a spot right here in the shade so that we're covered by trees here, and that way I can really control the light that's hitting Erica. When I add in my Speedlite, pretty much most of the light that's hitting her is coming from my Speedlite. If I had really harsh sunlight coming down, I would try to do everything I could to avoid that because it's not very flattering. Sometimes it's just a matter of turning another direction. If the light's somewhat directional but still overhead, you could maybe go 180 degrees the other side and eliminate some of that light on her face. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Now, let's shoot a picture just with the on-camera Speedlite so you can see how that looks. I'm going to do one without it first. I'm going to turn that off. Let's take a picture right here. Erica is a pro, so no problem there. Whoops, I had the flash on. Let's turn that off, and boom. Okay, so you can see what that looks like. She's underexposed, but I kind of want it that way because the background is exposed just how I want it at this point. And now by adding in the Speedlite, I can just light her up a little bit. So let's do one more with the Speedlite. There we go, and boom, perfect. Now you can see the exposure is perfect on that. I could play a little bit with the flash exposure compensation. I oftentimes like to do that outdoors, where I'll dial it down maybe a stop or two stops just to lower the intensity of that flash and blend it. That way it blends in a little more with the background. It doesn't feel quite like a flash photo. I really want to avoid it feeling like, boom, you're shooting with flash, right? So sometimes that flash exposure compensation, you can play with that to get it worked out. But to really increase the quality of this light, there's two things I want to do. The first one is to increase the size, right? So the way light works, you probably know, the bigger the relative light is to the subject, the softer that light is. That's how you reduce harshness, is you want to make the light source bigger. Now, this flash is relatively small, but I say relative size because the closer it is to your subject, the bigger it gets, right? Where you are now, if I was taking a picture of you, this light is very small, but if I move in like that, that light gets much bigger, right? So the relative size of that light is all that matters because that's what's going to hit from the perspective of your subject. So I want to increase the size of this. How do I do that? Well, there are a couple ways to do it. And it all involves some products. Some are more expensive than others, but most of them are relatively inexpensive. The first one I'm going to use right down here on the ground is called, from a company called MagMod, and this is the MagBox. And the way this works is, it's in a nice little pouch here, and you pull this thing out, and voila, this is the MagBounce. And what this is, the company's called MagMod because all their products are made with magnets. And what you do is you take this MagGrip, you have to have a MagGrip for each flash. I think it's called a MagGrip. is you go ahead, I hope I'm saying that correctly, you go ahead and you stretch that over your flash. I would do this with the flash off the camera so you don't break anything, but anyway. And it's got two very strong magnets on there. And then what you can do, you take this on here and it just sticks on the top, and those magnets are very strong. So she's amazed, folks. So, but wait, there's more, right? And you can take it off very easily, but it does stick and it's not gonna go anywhere. So now what does this do? Well, first of all, it raises the light up a little bit higher, because now the light's gonna hit in there by having the flash pointed up. It's gonna hit in there and then gonna bounce forward. That's why it's called the MagBounce. I like to use this indoors because it does hit a little bit of light on the walls around the ceiling and the walls, and it spreads the light out, and that light bounces back, and that really softens up the light a little bit more than it will outdoors. Outdoors, it's not really ideal, but if I was just gonna carry one very small lightweight item, this would be a good way to go. Let's take a picture with this, and you can see how that looks, and boom. Perfect, now you can see where that is. Now it does change the quality of the light a little bit. Not a lot, because it's not increasing the size that much, but it just gives me a little extra oomph. And also by raising it off a little bit higher, it's giving me a little more drama than if it was just a straight on-camera flash. That on-camera flash is very much on axis, and it's just not flattering. It's not really something you want to do if you can avoid it. So that's one way to go. The next thing besides the softness of the light, you also need to be concerned with the direction of the light, because that's really how you start to create images that have more interest and more drama, rather than just that straight, shadowless, flat light, right? So the simplest way to do that, with this Canon system, let's take this off. Canon makes, as do most camera companies, transmitters, little flash transmitters, and basically it's a flash without a light in it. And all you simply do is you take this little sucker. This is the Canon STE3RT. It just rolls off the tongue, very easy to say there. And you put that on, turn this on, and now all I have to do is change this from TTL to become a radio-controlled flash. There we go, we're on Group A and Group A on here. And now I can wirelessly control this flash, and I can now hold this wherever I want. So even if it's bare bulb, or if I was using the MagBounce, just getting it off camera and holding it off to the side is gonna give me a little bit more drama, a little more interest than if I just had it on the camera. So let's take one of these real quick, and I'm gonna hold that right there, and boom. All right, and you can see how that looks now. There's just a little bit more drama because the light is off axis, and it allows me to get a little bit more creative. I mean, I could put the light in different places, I could backlight her, I could do all kinds of different things. Once you get this off camera, it opens up a whole new world. Now, there are other things you can do, because now we're off camera, but we still want to soften that light just a little bit more. Again, you could use that MagBounce, but there are other ways to do it. Again, very inexpensive products. I'm going to show you one that's one of my favorites for this kind of a thing, and it is right down here. And we've got, as I come down on the ground here, boom, this is called this is from a company called LumiQuest, and this is the StripBox LTP. Do you know why it's called the LTP? No, because it stands for laptop pocket, because this is about the size of a laptop and will easily fit inside the pocket in your bag where your laptop goes. So this is very, very portable, easy to travel with. As long as you have something at least that size, no problem. And most of the time it will come with this UltraStrap, which is basically a strap of Velcro. And what you do is you just stick this around your flash, like so. It's got some grippy material on there, so that stays on there like that. And then all you do is take all four corners here, all four sides have Velcro on them, and you simply, this is easier to do on the ground, but I can do it here. Just stick that on there like so, and then the third one like that, and the fourth one like so, and voila. You now have turned that little tiny Speedlite into a much larger light source. Now, you can see this, they call this the strip box, because that is a strip light, which there are some creative uses where you might want to shoot a strip light. But the best thing about this one, most of the time I'm not going to use it that way. These flaps actually, it's all Velcro, just lift right up, and they fold back to the behind there. And again, more Velcro, lots of Velcro. And look at that. Now the Speedlight's going to hit inside there, light's going to go in, and it's going to spread out all along this surface, and going to give me a light that's about 20 times the size of just a softbox, a Speedlite. So now, because I'm already radioed with this thing, I can just simply hold it out to the side. And if I can do this with one hand, and I'm still on the same setting, so I'm going to go right in here and Boom. So there you go. You can see how much softer that light is because I've increased the size of that source. Now, how close I get it into her face is going to also make a difference. If I wanted to do full body and I backed way up and held it out there, it's not going to be that soft because that source, again, because it's further away, it's going to relatively get smaller. It's going to look smaller from your subject's perspective than if I got it in real close. But for a headshot, this is beautiful because I can get it right up in there. Now, if you want to get it out a little bit further and you really can't hand hold it far enough away and you really want to get creative or maybe get the light, if you want to do something like overhead, something like that, a little more, dramatic like that, you can use something like this. This is one of my favorite items. This is from Lastolite. This is actually their extension pole for the Easy Box Hot Shoe. And what this is, it's just a little pole, but it actually is retractable. So you open it up and it comes out all the way like so. And now it's got a nice grip on there. And all I do is simply, I've got a cold shoe, I've got an umbrella adapter on it. The end of this thing, it's made for the Easy Box, but it's just a standard post on the end. You can put any old umbrella adapter on there. And then I've got a cold shoe. I can just stick the flash in there, like so. Lock that down so it doesn't fall. And voila, look at that. I've now got basically a little studio flash that I can just hold very easily, and I can angle this however I want, get it up in there. This umbrella adapter, you can obviously turn however you want it to, straighten that out, and voila, I can hold this however I want to get some really interesting light, and it's a little bit easier than hand holding. So I would absolutely do something like this if I was out on a hike. It's super easy to do, and that's gonna work great. Now, the thing about me doing these videos is I want to start very simple and practical, and then let's get a little crazy. So what I'm going to do now, if you really want to do this, you want to get that light source even bigger, you can go ahead and take this off, and if you want to travel with it, it's not that big a deal. You could bring a photo umbrella. There's no reason why you can't fold this thing up. It's actually not as ridiculous as I make it sound. This thing folds up nice and small like a standard umbrella. This is one of my favorites. This is the Westcott. I forget what it's called. It's like the double fold or something like that. I'll put a link down below to exactly what it is. But the reason I love it is because the post isn't that long on this. However, it extends. Voila, like magic. And then all you do is, boom. So now you have a full-size shoot-through umbrella that you can stick right into the umbrella adapter here. And let's put this right through there. If you really wanted to do this, I don't know that I would do this on a hike necessarily, but why not? And there you go. And look at this. I now have basically a studio light in my hand. Very simple, very easy to put together. Let's make a picture here. Let me change this setting here so I'm on the right group. And make sure all my settings are correct here. Oh, sorry. Let's not kill Erica with the umbrella. Change this setting so I'm still on TTL. And yeah, I've just been on TTL the whole time here. Very simple. And now it's a little heavy and a little awkward, but I could just go right in here. And again, if I get this really close, this light is super soft. And boom, look at that, perfect, right? I mean, it doesn't get much better than that when you're out working very simply. By the way, one more thing I might do is use one of these little diffusers. If I was using a big umbrella like this, this is the Flashpoint. Stofan makes them. They're very cheap, it's a couple of bucks. And you can put that on and that'll spread the light out into the umbrella a little more evenly rather than getting a big hot spot in the middle. So that's another little thing you can do. Again, I'll put links to all this stuff down below. So I don't know, Erica, would you, if you were out with your boyfriend and you were walking in the park, would you bring all this stuff to make some pictures?
Sure, why not?
Sure, why not?
All about that content.
There you go, all about it's all for the gram, isn't it?
All for the gram.
There you go. So thank you so much, Erica. I really appreciate you being here. And again, if you guys have got photo questions, you know where to go. AskDavidBergman.com. There's a form there. Fill that out, and I just might pick it to answer here on a future show. Thanks for joining me. I'm back here with a new episode every Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on Adorama's YouTube channel. We'll be back next week. If you guys have another shoot you want me to do with Erica, let me know. Let me know what questions you've got, and we'll come out here and we'll do it. Thanks so much. I'll see you back here next time with a new episode of Ask David Bergman.